Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So, Ryan Garcia, Canelo Alvarez, Eddie Reynoso. You know, it's really unfortunate when you see what's going on right now. But that's what happened when you bring in a kid who's just young and he's part of this generation that's caught up in this social media and feeling they're entitled. This is part of that entitled generation. That entitled generation started about 10 years ago. And I saw it firsthand. You know, I dealt with hundreds and hundreds of them, man. You know, I may even say thousands that I've come across, you know, in the line of work that I was in. And this generation really feels that they're entitled to something. They think they know everything. Now, don't get me wrong. I would say that this next generation is probably a bit smarter than we were at that age, just because of the different things they have exposure to. So you got to give them, you got to respect them for what they bring to the table as far as just their intelligence and their knowledge. But the problem with them is none of them want to shut up and listen. Shut up, listen, and learn. And all of them want an immediate return on whatever they're investing in. They don't want to work hard. And they just want everything right there. And some things take time. It's a process. So when you think about Ryan Garcia, you know, ever since he left the Canelo camp, he's done nothing but, you know, run his mouth. But I'm not really surprised. I'm just disappointed because we all remember Ryan when he was out there talking about how he was feeling, you know, suicidal and mental health struggles and all this crap, right? The entire boxing world turned around to support this fruitcake. But now this fruitcake, he started feeling a little better, which makes you wonder if anything was ever wrong with him. And he turned around and starts, you know, saying things about people who are losing fights, trying to slander people, and just almost like taking and projecting his hurt onto other people. And that's not cool because it causes people to lose respect for you. Now, this is the thing. He's gone on record as talking about the Canelo camp and Eddie Reynoso and how he felt that this is the problem. This is the problem I have with this guy. He's talented, don't get me wrong. But when he came on record and was kind of comparing himself to Canelo and saying that he feels that he's, if not on the same level as far as being a superstar as Canelo, he's bigger than Canelo. And he doesn't need Canelo's platform. He's big enough to be a pay-per-view star and to be his own man. And he felt that he was underneath Canelo when he was in the Eddie Reynoso camp. And that he would never be able to shine as his own man, right? Now that is just young, immature thinking. First of all, you're not bigger than Canelo. Simple. Doesn't matter how many followers you have on social media. I should have did my research to see how many Canelo has, how many Ryan has. But that doesn't matter. The YouTube and your presence on YouTube, that doesn't matter. You're not making the money Canelo's making per fight, and you probably never will. Okay? So Ryan Garcia is allowing those lines of social media to cross into the lines of boxing. It's not the same thing. Don't get me wrong. It can benefit him. It really can. But it's not the same thing. Those two areas are independent of each other. And Ryan Garcia is allowing those lines to cross and blur. As a result, he says a lot of foolishness and has been about Canelo. Now, this is the other thing. He's gone online talking about Canelo, how Canelo looks in his performances and how he thinks Canelo's going to lose, or how he thinks that, you know, he should have never taken fights. And he's talking about someone where he isn't in the position to comment. Ryan Garcia has never, ever been in any fight of the caliber of what Canelo has been in. So he's not qualified to talk. Can he have an opinion? Yeah, I think we all can. But he shouldn't be coming on record saying anything about Canelo, because Ryan Garcia will probably never, ever accomplish 1/100th of what Canelo's accomplished. See, so that's the problem. The next thing is Canelo and Eddie Reynoso, right? Those guys, they're cool as a fan. But you know Eddie Reynoso and Canelo, right? Once you see Eddie, you see Canelo. Once you see a Canelo, you see a Reynoso. Simple. They're inseparable. No one comes in between that. But one thing, Reynoso's not going to let anyone bad talk Canelo. Canelo's not going to let anyone bad talk Eddie. But they're not the kind of guys to volunteer information. They're not like that. Eddie Reynoso and Canelo, they just hear, they hear things, they listen. They don't say much. They're not into all that. But when they decide to talk, they're going to blast you and blast you with facts. It's not going to be raw emotion. So Canelo came out and said, you know, Ryan Garcia basically has a big mouth. He's young, he's immature, he's just a kid. And when he said, so we have to understand what we're dealing with. But by him saying that, what that told me is Canelo wants to whip his ass. But he has to understand that Ryan Garcia is a young, inexperienced kid. They brought him into the camp, treated him like family. They worked with him. They gave him their best. And Ryan Garcia seemed happy because Oscar De La Hoya, and they did this. This is why Canelo says Ryan Garcia is ungrateful, right? One of the reasons. You remember during that time, Canelo and Oscar, they were having a little rift. Eddie Reynoso didn't have to bring that drama into his camp. But they said Ryan Garcia has nothing to do with Oscar. It's about helping him. And I'm sure they wanted to help him as a Mexican, although he's Mexican-American. I think that as a fellow, Mexican, they wanted to help him. And Ryan Garcia got caught up in that. He was after fighting, Viva Mexico! Right? He was shouting that shit. He ain't shouting it no more. You see? So, Ryan Garcia, to come out and shred those guys, he's fouled because the reason why Garcia's platform bubbled up the way it did when it comes to boxing is because of being over there with Canelo and Eddie Reynoso. So if he would have stayed with them, even though he would have been in Canelo's shadow, it wouldn't have hurt him. It would have helped him. Who wouldn't want to be in Canelo's shadow? And what I mean by that is Canelo's at the forefront of boxing. Everybody's in Canelo's shadow. Everyone. Not just you, but you want to come now and be treated and received the same way Canelo's treated and received. You want to get paid the kind of money Canelo's making. You haven't earned it, champ. You haven't earned it. And what really pisses me off is this man owes Reynoso money. But he's out here running his mouth. They brought you into their camp, brought you into their houses. And you come out there and start, disrespecting them and shredding them like that. And Eddie Reynoso and Canelo would have never said anything. Never. They would have never said anything. Because Garcia, you see, he developed under the guidance of that group. Y'all can say what you want. He scored 5 wins and stoppages underneath the training of Eddie Reynoso and just with whatever knowledge Canelo was sharing with him. But Canelo was saying a long time ago, Garcia is not disciplined. If you're going to be in that Reynoso camp, you have to be disciplined. You have to want to come in and work. Reynoso came over here. I did a story on him. Go look at my page about Eddie Reynoso. Who is he? The multiple trips to the United States and getting sent back, getting caught, all the crap he went through trying to get to America. Finally getting back over here, getting involved in boxing, and how things just kind of worked out going back home. They discovered Canelo. Look at that story. When you look at his story, you look at Canelo's story, you'll understand why guys like that, if you're not coming into work and be disciplined, they don't want you. They don't want to go back to where they came from. They don't want to ever have to go back to that. They're never going to lose their humbleness. But one thing they're not going to let anyone come and do is disrupt what they've established and come in there with a poor work ethic. And Ryan Garcia didn't have the work ethic that they felt he needed. And they were vocal about it. I think Ryan Garcia, he got a little butthurt. But, it is what it is. Okay? The criticism is criticism. It shouldn't be shocking criticism. You got to take that feedback. You got to take that. But I don't know how many of you guys have been on teams. Let's just talk about in the workplace. At workplace, co-workers, your teammates, right? When you're busting your tail as a trainer in there. You have 5 or 6 new people who came on. You got to get them all up to speed. And you got 1 or 2 who are making your job as a trainer easy because they're paying attention, they're reviewing, they're going home, they're studying, and they're asking questions. Then you got the other 3 who aren't paying attention, aren't asking questions, aren't taking notes. Then when you come in there and ask them to perform a task, they basically want you to rehash everything from step 1 to step 100. It's like, nah. Why do we have to go? Why do I have to go now and go over all this stuff all over again with you? You should have some discipline. You should be in here, man. At this point, you should be bringing something to the team, adding to the team. And if you're not doing that and you get frustrated because the ones who are going home and studying and being disciplined and coming in here and I don't have to tell them much and I give them time off or I give them praise and you're not getting that, but you want the reward they're getting, but you're not putting in the work. It doesn't work that way. And that's how it was with Ryan Garcia. He was that one that didn't really want to take notes, want to be disciplined, want to be in the gym training. He just wanted to come and just get all the rewards. It doesn't work like that. So now he's frustrated. So so we gotta understand the frustration with Canelo and Reynoso because to me they're unfairly being targeted. I get all the talks back in the day about the Canelo beef and all those jokes and all that, I get all that. But let's set that aside. Reynoso and Canelo, they took that guy in. He's young, immature, and he's clownish. But that's his personality. He doesn't fit. He never fit into that camp, in my opinion, because of his personality. He's too young and too much of a goofball. And it showed. Look at what they're dealing with now. And the thing is, he was able to get behind the scenes with those guys. There's a lot he knows about them that other people wouldn't know because of just him being in an intimate relationship. And now he's out of that relationship with those guys, and now he's trying to do them dirty. And I don't like that. I don't like that, man. But when Garcia's out here, instead of just being quiet, he just wants to come and just reignite flames with Alvarez and Reynoso, where he's saying Gennady Golovkin's going to knock him out when they meet in the trilogy. And if you don't have anything good to say, sometimes you just need to shut up, man. And I think he's just pissed off. It's like having an ex-girlfriend or any of you ladies out here having an ex-boyfriend, and they're sour because they're not with you anymore. So as a result, they're no longer part of the team. And that's how Ryan Garcia is. He's no longer part of the team. So he's going to be versus them no matter what. And it's like Canelo said, he's a little kid, and you just have to understand him. But he has a lot of things to learn in life. But the bottom line is he needs to do his job, win a world championship, focus on his career. Stop talking about other people because he's done nothing. And those are facts. And even though when Canelo was 20 years old, he won a world title, it doesn't matter who he fought, he won one. Ryan has done nothing. So you can call everybody out and say what you want, but the bottom line is Ryan Garcia has done nothing. They came to those guys' gym, they showed them love and support, man. And he goes and says a bunch of horrible things about him. He's just not grateful. He's young, he's immature, he's a clown, man. And that is one of the worst things. One of the worst things. And they should never, in my opinion, they should never receive him with open arms ever again. He's burning bridges. But Ryan Garcia, he went on record and said, they may feel that I'm ungrateful, but it doesn't matter. I'll never be that thirsty to where I'll have to drink water from them. And I'm like, wow, this guy he keeps pouring it on, doesn't he? I'll never be so thirsty that I'll have to drink water from them. I don't know what to say, man, when it comes to this guy, Ryan Garcia. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know. But I like Canelo Alvarez. He says he's not jealous of Ryan. He doesn't wish bad on him. He's still going to root for him in fights. He just wished the best for him. And you gotta understand that Canelo Alvarez had a lot of opportunity to take shots at him, and he's choosing the high road, which is very respectful. Very respectful. The one thing he did say that I know got under Ryan Garcia's skin is he felt that Ryan Garcia cannot beat Tank Davis. He can't beat Tank Davis. He has to put his mind to boxing and learn a lot. He has a lot of talent, but it's going to take a lot more work for him to be able to get in there and beat Tank Davis. And those are just facts, man. A lot of people share that sentiment. But Ryan Garcia is going to be sour. And again, when he said, no matter how thirsty I get, I'll never drink water from those guys, I just said it's just a hopeless case, man. But anyway, man, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. I do think Ryan Garcia has a huge platform. I think Ryan Garcia can do a lot of things now. But before he hooked up with Canelo and Reynoso, Ryan Garcia was on the cusp of getting beat. He had stamina issues. His boxing looked real amateurish. He hooked up with Canelo, Eddie Reynoso, and everything just bubbled up for him. Now he's with Joe Goulston. We'll see how he looks in the second fight. But the first fight, he didn't look all that. So I think at the end of the day, Canelo and Eddie are going to get the last laugh, but they won't say anything. Ryan Garcia, if he had mental health issues a couple of years ago, shit's going to spiral totally out of control when he loses, if he loses to Javier Fortuna. Because the whole social media world, which is the world he loves to live in, is going to shred him. And I hate to see that happen to a young man, but he needs a little foot in his ass. He needs to learn how to shut up. He needs to learn how to shut up, man. All that, I'm turned up, I'm turned up, I'm turned up, I'm turned up. Now you need to turn down and cool yourself, man, and be more respectful. But anyway, man, y'all take care. I appreciate the support. Shout out to the veterans, and I'm in the break.